Okay, so what
Exactly.
are the, as you mentioned, you have been teaching students online, right? So what are the methods you use to teach your students? Like a lot of people use many, I would say like most of the teachers use different methods. What are the methods you use?
Exactly. Every student is different and every trainer is different, and they have different styles of training. So, mainly, I focus on spoken English as these are spoken English classes. So, I don't believe in one side giving lectures, that giving lectures and teaching them a lot of stuff, but not giving them chance to speak English. So, what I make sure that they should get proper time to express themselves because they want to learn spoken English, not some other things of English. As I see in offline institutes, people go there to learn spoken English, but they come back with the grammatical knowledge and everything, and translation and a story in English and all this stuff. So I just I help them to speak on multiple topics. First, very I would say the small topics. So about hometown, their education, their childhood days, their school days, and all those things. So it's all about like their past memories. So at least they know like what happened in their life and they can express themselves. Then I just go to some advanced or maybe intermediate level of topics so they can speak. And apart from this, sometimes shadowing is pretty helpful to get the right pronunciation, right style of speaking. That I do. Sometimes a story narration practice, I want them to watch story, we watch a story together, and then I want them to narrate the story in front of me in their own words. So that's what we do. Sometimes reading practice, that reading out loud, that helps us to understand like the mistakes of my students, that the pronunciation mistakes on multiple I would say the vocabularies and words. So that's all these activities I do. I try according to the students that what is their objective, because every single student has the different purpose of learning language, right? So there are many activities and I change according to the students. Some people are very much comfortable in doing conversations all the time, then I'm okay with that. I ask them to do conversation whenever they want and about anything. So that's how it is. So practical method, I would say I just go for the practical approach. And yes, if I find some mistakes, then I will let them know that what are the problems you are going through related to the grammar. You can focus on it. Or even though I can tell them something about the some tenses and things, but very little. I would say not very deep into that grammar, that only teaching grammar for 5 days or 10 days. No, only I will tell them and then I will let them know. That's how they can work on it.
Yeah, definitely. These methods works really well because there is no alternative of learning spoken English unless and until you speak to someone, right? Like practice is really important. You should practice as much as possible. A lot of people, what they do is like they learn translation, as you mentioned, like in offline institute, some places, teachers teach them just grammatical theory and then they teach them translation, but it does not help them to speak fluently. Definitely, I agree with you because I have been through this. I learned English initially by learning translate translation method, and it did not work with me really well. I was really slow. I could not speak fluently. I used to pause for a while before I could speak to someone, right? Like I would think for a while that what I have to say when I was using translation method, right? Because it does not work. Because like when you learn translation method, you have to translate everything from your mother tongue to English language. So it was really difficult to talk to people. And later I realized like maybe I should work on my thinking process. I should learn natural English. So later on, I dropped the idea of translating everything and just started working on content. I listened to a lot of podcasts. I talked to people without translating. Even if I made a lot of mistakes when I was talking to people, I made a lot of grammatical mistakes. I used some vocabulary in a different context that was not even correct, right? And later I realized like that was wrong. So I should use this word in proper context. So that's how I switched from translating things to directly speaking of my mind and expressing my feeling and idea. So yeah, definitely like translation method does not work that well. And if you want to become fluent in English, as I mentioned, like practicing is really important as you are doing with your student. Whenever you are teaching, you are promoting them so that they can practice with you whenever there is possible, right? You are holding maybe a group discussion, storytelling. describing about their past, right? You are not teaching them translating. So I would really appreciate you, like you are in spoken English, you are really doing great and using really good methods to teach your students.
Yes, hi Amit. Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing great. What about you? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking, but it's really cold here. Freezing cold outside.
All right.
How about
Okay.
you?
So
Like, how's the weather in your place?
in my place also, weather is really freezing cold. You cannot go outside without wearing jacket, sweater. It's really cold out here as well. Okay, so I welcome you to my channel. We are here meeting for the first time. So would you like to introduce yourself, Ashutosh?
Yeah, why not? Of course. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me on your YouTube channel. And I would be really happy to introduce myself in front of you. So my name is Ashutosh Dwivedi, and I hail from Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh. About my education, I have recently completed my master's degree in English literature. Apart from this, I run a YouTube channel that focuses on spoken English conversations. About my profession, I'm a spoken English trainer by profession. I conduct online sessions for my students. So that's all about my education and profession. When it comes to my hobbies, I like photography, playing cricket, and I would say listening to music and singing as well. So that's what I like. But I used to do all those things before, but nowadays I don't get sufficient time to enjoy my hobbies. So that's all about me.
All right, that's great. Okay, now I will give my introduction because
Sure.
we are meeting here for the first time. So yeah, my name is Amit Karketta. I'm from Jharkhand, a small
Mhm.
district called GUMLA. I'm from there. And I have completed my bachelor's in education. And just I have completed, now I teach in high school. I'm also a language trainer. I teach some students in spoken English. And apart from that, I also make videos and upload on YouTube channel. And if I talk about my hobbies, I like reading books, playing badminton, hanging out with my friends. So I usually do these kind of things whenever I have a free time. This is my short introduction.
So that's great to hear about you. So you are
Uh,
aspiring to become a teacher in future as you have completed your bachelor's in education and already you are teaching the students, right? So
yeah,
would you
I'm
love to
already.
see yourself as a government teacher?
Yeah, I would definitely love to see myself as a government teacher because already I have qualified as a trained graduate teacher. I have completed my bachelor's in education, so I would love to see myself as a government teacher.
So that's great.
Okay, so how did you started your language learning journey? Because as I can say, you can speak really well, and you also said like you are English language trainer. So when did it all started, or it just happened?
Exactly, I will tell you. I come from commerce background. I completed a bachelor's degree that was BCom honors accounting from Banaras Hindu University. So I had complete mindset to go for commerce, and I wanted to see myself either in banking or CA, chartered accountant, or maybe I would go for this Masters of Business Administration, but it did not happen. I don't know why. Because I came back in COVID-19 and there was nothing to do, and I did not take a lot of interest in online classes because situation was pathetic, and I was not able to focus on that. And learning subjects like accountancy, economics, and marketing online, I think it was not easy at all. So I lost my interest in taking classes, and then I thought of doing something else for myself, which can give me some benefits in future. So I started working on my communication skills and I started enjoying it. That was the day like 29th April 2020. That was the first day when I started working on my communication skills. When I started talking to people, it was so amazing for me. I started interacting with people for 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, and even the one day, 10 hours a day. So that was fantastic for me, and I started enjoying. Then I thought, why not to continue as a like professional or as a spoken English trainer. I got some students. They requested me to train them, even though I was not well versed. Till now, I'm not really expert in it, but they requested me to help with the spoken English. Then I thought, yes, it's really fine sitting in a place and just helping them, and it is not like going offline somewhere. So then I thought of continuing it, And later on, I got an idea to start my YouTube channel by suggestions or recommendations of my friends for boosting my confidence, not for something else to get a lot of subscribers or maybe to get a lot of money out of it. I started for improving myself as a speaker. On camera, I would speak and I would become better.
Okay, so you were telling me about your language learning journey, right? You started teaching students, so yeah, I couldn't hear you after that.
Yes, so I started my journey in 2020, but in 2021, I got some students, and they were Indians living in Canada, and they wanted to get PR, permanent residence. So they requested me to help them with their spoken English, and I was clueless. I said like, how I'm gonna do it? But they said like, don't worry, sir, I will like cooperate with you. Or then I said, if they are ready, then I don't have any problem. Then I started training students, and it was quite interesting, I would say. I liked it. I was learning along with them. I was trying to learn many ways. I was learning many ways to make them understand that how can I make things simpler for them. That's how I started. And then I started working on YouTube channel. And in 2022, I took some sessions on Clapping Go, and that worked. I got some views and I got some people. Then I started collaborating with other YouTubers, and then I started getting more people and more, I would say, students. That's how we started. And when it comes to my spoken English journey, as I told you that I used to speak with the people on multiple platforms. There were Buddy Talk, Hello, Clubhouse, or Hi Local, and Ace Fluency. There were multiple platforms which I tried to become better. And usually I used to speak people with people from morning to evening. That's how my journey was. And I tried all those activities. I would say speaking in front of camera, speaking in front of mirror, talking to myself, speaking out loud, reading and recording myself, practicing tongue twisters. So I tried everything possible to become better in it. And so within 1 or 2 years, I was able to deal with people. I was able to hold conversations, but there is a long way to go. So I have completed 4.5 years now. So I would be completing 5. So that's how it is.
Okay, yeah, that's great. That's great to hear. Like you have been working really hard for a long time, as you mentioned about you taught students. You mentioned you have practiced everything that can work for you, right? Like you shared, you have uh, tried multiple platform. I have also tried multiple platform, as you mentioned about S Fluency. I have tried that one, and next one is Free Photo that I used to
Uh-huh.
use for a while.
Yes, that
It was
is
a great
website,
platform.
right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a great website where you can meet people across the world. It's really helpful. And you also talked about teaching students, right? It's the best way to learn anything, I would say. Like if you become teacher, you have to do a thorough research so that you can teach them better, right? And that's how you improve. And this is the best way you can learn anything, not just English. If you want to learn any skill like singing, dancing, anything, if you are if you become teacher, if you are teaching someone, you are going to work on that for a long time. You're gonna put a lot of hard work because it's your responsibility to teach students. So you're gonna put a lot of hard work. That's how you improve, how you become better. So it's the best way you can learn anything, I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It has worked for me as well, as I have been teaching a lot of students in school, and student to students who are like willing to learn spoken English. I'm teaching them, so it has been helping me a lot to improve. So yeah, it works really well.
So why you started your spoken English journey? Was there any particular reason behind?
Yeah, I always wanted to be a teacher since I was in college. That was my dream that I want to become a teacher. So later, I maybe dropped that idea for a while because I saw my friends going in corporate sector and becoming manager, boss of companies. I thought maybe I should go also in corporate sector. But when I worked in a corporate sector for a while, I realized like that I don't want to work in a corporate sector. I should go for teaching that I liked when I was in college. So later, I worked on my uh, basically degree. Like I did my bachelor in education. As you mentioned, you have done your master's in English literature. I have completed my bachelor's in English literature. So yeah, I also did my bachelor in education in English language. And then when I became teacher, I started teaching students. I realized like maybe I should work more and more and become fluent in English, because when you are teaching students, when you are standing in front of a student and talking to them, if you don't talk to them in English, then that's a really ridiculous thing, that even after being a teacher, even after being a English language teacher, you cannot speak fluently in front of your students. Then what's the point of becoming a English language teacher, and what's the point of being a English literature student? So I started my spoken journey, and that's how I learned everything.
That's great to hear. Exactly. Nowadays, it's really necessary to speak English. Does not matter that you're a language teacher or not. Even though if you're a science teacher, social science teacher, but in few good schools, it is compulsory for you to speak English. Because if teachers are not speaking English, how students are going to do it, right? So
Yeah,
it should be compulsory for teachers to speak English. Then only they can create environment. Then students can learn from the environment, right?
yeah, definitely. We set the example. Like when we are talking in English, when they see us talking, definitely they're gonna aspire that they should also work on their communication skills. They will uh, consider as a role model and start learning their language. So definitely, like we should definitely set an example in front of students and speak in front of students in English language, so that they can also want to learn this language and become fluent, right? Where they are getting chance to speak in front of people, then definitely it's if as you mentioned about one-on-one session, when they getting a chance to speak in front of you, so definitely it works for them. I agree with you.
Mhm.
Okay, so apart
Okay.
from English, like you said about your hobbies, right? You also like reading books, you mentioned, right? Okay, so
Yeah.
what kind of books
To
you
be
read?
honest, uh, I didn't say reading books to be honest because I'm not a bookworm. And but yeah, I read few books. I compared myself to read read some books to become better, as I heard that good readers are good leaders. So I always tried myself, try my level best to read some books, and I read, yes, like Ikigai I read, and Secret written by Rhonda Byrne, and I read Rich Dad and Poor Dad and Psychology of Money. So I read few books, not a lot, but I learned a lot from them. But mainly I believe in watching and consuming the content as much as I can and talking to people directly. As I have a lot of students, a lot of friends from South India and from other countries as well. So I prefer talking to them rather than reading a lot of books. I of course I tried many times because I get this recommendation, but nowadays I'm not doing it. But earlier when I started my journey, I read around 6 to 7 books.
Okay, okay, all right. Yeah, I have also read many books, as you mentioned, about psychology of money, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Yeah, I want to read that book, like Ikigai. How is it, this book?
Yeah, that is a very nice book, I would say. And the practical approach things are there, that how you can follow your passion and what is very important for you in life that you can choose and you can do forever. There is no word like retirement, because what happens, we are doing something and after 60 we want to be retired because we are not doing that heartily, right? But if you like something, then you will do that till your death, right? So that is ikigai, means finding your own passion, finding the right way or right thing for yourself, which you can do your whole life without thinking about retirement. So that's what the people do in Japan. They are able to do everything, even though at the age of 90, 95, 100, 120, they are artists or they are doing something which they like doing it. So what is very important for you is to find something which you like doing a lot.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's a great wisdom, I would say. Like if they are teaching through that books, those things, then that's a great thing. All right. So like you have done your masters in English literature, right? So what are you doing these days, by the way?
What am I doing these
Uh,
days? I
Educational wise,
completed my
like are
master's
you?
in mid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, educational wise, like after doing masters, people go for PhD, prepare for NET exam, or do some whatever they like. So, what are you doing?
I thought about preparing for the NAT exam, but I'm not doing it to be honest. because I want to grow myself as a social media content creator. So I completed my degree in just mid 2024, and now this is 25 now. So it's been around 6 or 7 months. But I started conducting my sessions as much as I can. So I want to see myself as an online trainer. And apart from this, I want to evolve myself as a content creator. So now I'm focusing on these two things: conducting sessions for my students and trying to do some good things on YouTube. So that's what my goal is, and I would be happy with that.